Testing 1, 2, 3. Okay, so let's see what we're looking like today. Let's go over to the low floats first. So what we're seeing on the low floats. What we saw from yesterday that's still on the scan, QCLS, SMX, let's see, where is my... Looks like it's taking a while to come through. But I know it's, yeah, it's definitely going through. Don't know what else. Don't see it populating yet, though. Says I'm live. Okay, well, I'm just going to believe it and continue to press on. All right, so let's go look through some of the things that are going on today. So Acon was one that was up. It's $1.30. And it looks like it has marijuana banking. Okay, I believe that is one of the cannabis stocks. Another one that was up was LGHL, and then QCLS, pretty much doing a round trip here. So it came up here to 938, zoomed back down to 834s. This one has been moving for a while. I just didn't like the catalyst. That investor, whatever his name was, I'm like, okay, one investor is investing because of a study. I'm like, can't anybody do that? But it moved quite a bit on QCLS, and people found opportunities on it. I did not. I was like, nah, I'm good. I'm good. Let's see this thing start populating. I'm really not seeing. Let's see. Okay, so QCLS was the biggest mover, but now this little $1 stock, Acon, is the one that's kind of staying bullish. Go to make sure this thing is actually working. Okay, yeah, it is. I thought I was tripping. All right, so we are live. So, I don't know if you guys saw SMX went up to $200. Very low volume yesterday. This one's been moving over the past couple of weeks. I believe this one was the one that was tied to the was it the oil, or not the oil, the gold one? Let's see. Yeah, this was the one. Yep. So yeah, we saw it back here on, let's see, this is December the 2nd. This was the first day move that it did, I believe. Nope, might have been this one. It had a really crazy pre-market. Good morning, good morning. We're going through some of the things that we saw yesterday moving. SMX is one of the biggest moves that I saw yesterday. That gold stock or whatever, it is now up to $220. Insane movement from where we first saw it. I mean, it wasn't even, I think it was just this month that it made this full move. Let's see. Went down to a low of 312 on November 19th. And now we're not even to December 19th and it's at $220. Yeah. So that was you bought and sold SMX early this week and didn't hold any, still made a couple hundred. Hey, you got, I mean, I just that catalyst and everything with the whole gold thing, I kind of figured it was gonna end up doing more, especially with that Dubai money coming in. You know, people just throwing a couple million at it. You know, they got a couple to spare, so I was like, yeah, it might end up doing something. But for a day trade, I was looking for specific metrics. Okay, other than that, what do we have up today? We have Acon, $1.30 stock, LGHL, and then QCLS leading the day. So I'm looking around. All right. And the other ones that we saw moving from yesterday as well, PLRZ is down 13%. And then EKSO is the one that I traded yesterday, the one that I liked the news on, the exoskeleton news. And I did get green on EKSO yesterday. So saw it come down here, made this move up to 694, sold off, sold off, sold off. I was looking for it to start uptrending, and it went down here and hit 350, and I was like, okay, I'm just gonna take a position here and see where it goes. So I actually ended up, let me see what my entry was on this one. Entry was at 368. 368. So when I saw it hit 350, I made that my pretty much my all out. And I was getting in after I saw it kind of start moving up at 368. Came kind of bundled here, moved up again, and I ended up selling. I think I sold right around this level of the 380s before it made this little dip down. But I could have got more off of it. I took 606 shares at 368. So 368 was like right in here, and I got to move up to 382. So like right around 14 cents was my average take. So right around this top here is where I was selling out of that 600 shares. It did end up going up here to 419, but I just didn't, I was like, look, I got profit right now on a day where one, I found something with Catalyst, but it's being undermined, right? It's not really performing and all of that. I'm gonna trade it. I'm not gonna be greedy and I'm gonna get out. I'm not gonna look for it to break into an uptrend or like a true explosion. Just gonna take what I can get and get out. So with that, here's my 3 trades that I've taken on this month. All of them are green. QTTB, HTOO, and EKSO. Not the gains that I usually am looking for, the 30 cents, but all of these trades have been on slow days for these tickers. So I've been taking that half position of 15 cents off of these. So 14-cent winner, 15% winner, then a 8-cent winner, and that's because I had slippage on the stop out because it was set probably to 10 cents. But anyway, yeah, just sitting here chilling through the month, taking the trades and looking to continue to build out the cushion. I actually ended up trading on Wednesday and making money there. So just little bits and pieces, looking to get a cushion, and we still got all this time in the month to go. So I'm just going to play play it safe and continue to just build out that cushion this month. And this is the last month of the year, so going into the next month, you know, just going in nice and green and entering into 2026, just continuing the same thing. One of the key things that I changed this year was actually just looking at structure, waiting for actual structure to build and not just, you know, not just going in just with no structure, you know. Look for structure, look for downtrends, look for uptrends, look for things that can be challenged, and then, you know, trade off of them. But yeah, back over here to the low floats, we still got the, looks like the same ones. Okay. Acon, let's see. Acon, let's go look at these daily charts for these. So it's at $1.32 now. And actually we probably need to look at the profiles first and see what they actually are. That's what I think I'm gonna do. Jump over here to the news first. No reason to look at the charts without news. It's like looking at the ocean without knowing what part of the ocean you're in. Okay, so Acon, let's flip over here to the profile. All right, as a description, as of August 21st, 2025, Aconda Corp was acquired by First Towers and Fiber Corp. In a reverse merger transaction, Aconda Corp, through its subsidiaries, engages in cultivation, manufacturing, and distribution of cannabis-based products. The company was incorporated in 2021 and is headquartered in Toronto, Canada. All right, so this is a Canadian stock. No day one catalyst here on Friday. Cannabis. The float on Acon is float looking like under 1,651,000 or yeah, 651,000 in the float. Didn't really see any keywords in their bio. Let me go look at the previous days here. So, whoops. Previous days news here. Oh. So, let's see. Last news was on this one. Nebraska Supreme Court here seeking to overturn medical marijuana law approved by voters. Okay, so they're trying to overturn a law. Medicare to test making CBD treatment available for seniors. All right, well that's a couple days ago. Today is the 5th, so yeah, Nebraska. It looks like they're trying to overturn something. I'm not sure about all of that, but it's something new just popped in. What was that? WHLR popped in. So Acon WHLR. Let's go jump over to that. Already looking like it's making a round trip. Looks like the last news on it was December 1st. Went up to 595 up here. Of course, we've seen WHLR before. And a lot of times on Freaky Fridays with no catalyst. So we'll see what happens on that one, because that's where it's sitting right now. Only 1 million shares traded. It's going to have to compete with these other low floats here as well. So we'll see who starts to beat out SPRC, which has 7 million shares traded right now. Acon is the closest, but these other ones are running up on both of them. So we'll see how that goes. QCLS back under 20%, only up 17% now. So the top 3 on percent gain is Acon, WHLR, and LGHL, and we'll see how that volume comes through and if it can hold up. All right, so let's go. So we were looking at Acon. Now let's look at WHLR. This is Willard Real Estate, and we already know real estates is definitely something that can be very dangerous. Of course, we I know y'all have probably seen the news about mortgage rates coming down. And what I was thinking when I heard that news was, yeah, mortgage rates are coming down, but what are they going to do about the mortgage pricing? Because even at a lower price, let's say you do get a 50-year mortgage, or I mean, even at a lower rate, even if you do get a 50-year mortgage, you can still tear your pocket completely out with the prices there, you know. Let's see. What was that? Oh, WHLR. So the float on WHLR is also under 1,563,000. Go ahead and notate that. And 563 float. 60,000, and let's go look at what this thing is doing. All right, profile. Headquartered in Virginia Beach, Virginia, Wheeler Real Estate Investment Trust. And this is, I mean, these are several key red flags. Investment trust, real estate. All of that sounds bad. That does not sound like people want that to be volatile. It's a fully integrated, self-managed commercial real estate investment company focused on owning, leasing, and operating income-producing retail properties with a primary focus on grocery-anchored centers. WHLR portfolio contains well-located, potentially dominant retail properties in secondary and tertiary markets that generate attractive risk-adjusted returns. WHLR common stock Series B, convertible, whatever. All of that sounds bad. So yeah, just it being real estate and being a trust is not good. Real estate trust. Okay, WHLR. Let's go look at. Looks like SPRC is now under 10%, so it's kind of fell down the map. Let's do another rotation. So Acon, what you looking like over here? Acon, very, very choppy. Cannabis stock. Not a killer, no killer news on today. Looks like marijuana is actually going through some trials and tribulations. People trying to reverse laws and stuff. So not sure what this one wants to do today. LGHL up 22%, but it doesn't look that bullish. Let me go look at what it is. So LGHL. AJ says SMX continues to rise. This thing is at 300. Didn't I just see it at $200? What is going on, man? That's got to be that Dubai money, man. That's got to be the Dubai money. Insane. $307. Moved from just a nice little clean coat of 200 up to another 100. Yeah, that's definitely doesn't seem safe, especially only having 200 and right here 200 almost 300,000 shares traded, and that's it for this type of push is insane. $100 move on that. You bought two at 245. Well, you are very green, my friend, at 326. So you've probably made a couple $100 on those two shares. That's insane. Well, I say a couple hundred. That's, let's see, every dollar is $2. So it moved $100. Yeah, 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 yeah. I thought I was stupid. But yeah, LGHL is a Chinese, well, Asian out of Singapore. It is a trading platform. Okay, that's all bad. I'm not trading a trading platform for volatility. So let me, and now it said 373. Yo, SMX is tripping a lot, a lot. You might buy one more share. Oh, you are tripping. That thing. Okay, AJ, you really about that life. Let me see. But anyway, yeah, this is a Singapore-based stock on LGHL. So not too interested in that. Go ahead and notate that. So Singapore. And the float on it is oh my gosh, that float is huge. All right, well, I'm not touching that. That's 6 point. Is that the right thing? 6.13 billion in the float for LGH, whatever. Yeah, that's a trap. And notate that 6.31 or 13 billion in that float. All right, got that notated. So we looked at ACON, we looked at WHLR. QCLS has been moving. I think I already got that one noted somewhere. Maybe I didn't. Maybe I didn't. I really don't care about it. I'm probably not gonna touch it because it's not what's popping on the day. SPRC, same thing, kind of dropping out of there. Let me see. They signed a so on December 2nd, they signed a non-binding agreement. This is an Israeli stock. Let me see. Spark, SPRC. Now, one of the things with the one that I traded yesterday, EXO, it was an American company signed with an Israeli that signed an Israeli deal. So I still traded it. But like if it's an Israeli company, I'm like, I don't know, man. They might try to take my shoes. Might try to take my shoes up off me. And I think this S-Spark is an Israeli company. Yep. So that one is a no-go. But I'm just looking at how extended SMX is. I mean, it could go to $400. It could be, I mean, I don't know, man. I don't know what the limits are on SMX, man. It just keeps going up. So I really, at the beginning, I was like, ooh, what kind of news is this? But, you know, ended up being, it probably made people's December, actually, if they were holding through all of the turmoil. Okay, so let's go back over to SMX, which is now look at that, man. Look at the pop to 435 and a pop back down to 394. Now, imagine the people that were buying saying, man, this thing's gonna keep going up. Oh, snap. It's at 250. Okay, so if you bought another share, you may have given back a lot of profit. Yeah. Yep, look at that, 240. So look at this. Explosion of 200 up $200. Anybody that bought any of this stuff up here, they are now in some serious pain. And this is why we look for stocks with volume. And this is one of the reasons that I avoided it in the first place, because every single day that they traded it, it had low volume until the aftermarket when there are no stops or no halts that can be put into place, right? And I don't like stocks that operate like that. I want to see real people be able to trade this thing in real time and get those moves. So, yeah, glad I avoided that because that doesn't look good. Being all the way back down almost to 200. That Dubai money starting to sell now. They're like, oh yeah, it's Friday, isn't it? Let's go ahead and take some off. Okay. So QCLS continuing to just grind on down. Acon, no real reason. Real estate. Why is real estate up here leading low floats? We should get on out of here. SMX is probably going to pop up here on a low float scanner as well as soon as it hits a million. I don't even like to see these stocks before they hit a million. I need to see me some volume, man. Million shares should be easy for something that's good. You did not sell and still up 10%. Well, I mean, yeah. But I don't know if it's gonna be going back up to 400 anytime soon. Now with the move down like that, I don't know. Maybe it will. Um, but I mean, then again, you don't have much risk on the table as far as like what you actually are holding. It'll be a different thing if you had 1,000 shares of this. You would probably be trying to take some off, but you have 2 shares, so it's like let it play, let it play. But it is Friday, so we'll see if I don't think anything's gonna be made. Oh, let me look at the overall market. Overall market is looking like overall market. Let's see. Still holding this trend that we marked from way back when. Still holding up here. It's used it as a little bit of resistance, but continues to just hold around it, around this 25,800 or 25,700 to 800. Looks good. I think Friday is going to be a nice consolidation day. I really don't expect anything super big. Of course, everybody's in the winds waiting on the possible rate cuts and things like that. So I think we got a lot to see, but for right now, I'm not really taking any risk on today or anything like that because one, I'm already green on the month. I got my little cushion. I'm just playing it safe, really. And like I was saying, this is the last month, so just end the year good and chill. You know, end the year green, end the year in good standing, and take everything that I've learned from this year into next year. The things that I kept in the strategy is definitely the ATRs, the dynamic ATRs, and the ATRs from the previous day's calculation. I also kept the art relative volume. So ATRs, relative volume, volume by itself, of course. As far as percent gainers, I really like the higher percent gain. Well, WHLR is doing something over here, but this is a real estate company, so we don't really care. It's probably lying. Anyway, um, um, ATRs, RVOL, ATR probabilities, and what was the structure? Finding structures before I enter trades. If there is no structure, I'm not entering. Um, and simply just managing risks too. So not just finding structure, but finding structure that is operating around specific mental levels, whether that's whole dollars, half levels on the daily chart that can be kind of traded around. That's really changed the game, man. Narrowing down the wins. And right now, I'm averaging right around 12 cents per trade this month. Last month I was getting around 20 to 30 cents, but that was on some bigger, some nicer catalysts, some more understandable catalysts. But you know, I'm okay with the taking half of it. I mean, if I make 12 cents every trade, and you know, out of I don't know how many trades I make 12 cents. Like let's say out of 10 trades, 8 of them I make 12 cents. I'm okay with that. And then if one ends up shooting the moon, you know, going up to 30 cents, 40 cents, a dollar, I'm even better. I'm in even better shape. WHLR, SMX. Yeah, it's so steep right now. It has no structure really. And I don't even know if it's going to get to a million shares traded at this point. It's not even, it's barely crawling to 500,000. PLRZ though continue to dive down, so I'm going to take that one out. That one was trash anyway. I don't even know if I ever even traded PLZR or whatever. PLRZ. I don't even think I traded that. Symbols. PLRZ. I traded it at some point. Look at that. Oh yeah, I did trade it on December 24th, 2024. Look at what happened to me. PLZR on December 2024. These are my two trades back last year in December, and I lost 163. That's why I had a bad feeling about that. Okay, I forgot when I had seen this, but yeah, I got in, lost. Was these on the same days? And these were on the same day. Yep. So at least I know a year from last year, I'm better than I was last year. I didn't even touch this thing. But yeah, statistically, yeah, it tore my pocket out. So I'm still currently down. So it doesn't look like I made that back. And then, I mean, I'm probably not going to make that back on PLRZ, that Israeli stock. So that's why we keep those statistics, man. Avoid the snakes in the water. Avoid the snakes in the water. I knew I had seen that before, man. It's a reason I avoid these Israeli and Chinese stocks for real, though. Where was I going? I was going back to this month and portfolio. Boom. Okay. Anyway, PLRZ, taking that off. I'm gonna go ahead and take off EKSO as well. Only a 1% with very low volume. At least it had volume on yesterday. 5 million something shares. QCLS. It's amazing how all they want you to do is just look and see that this is bullish. But as long as you don't know that this is a real estate trust, you'll probably go in for a breakout that you'll never see. You end up getting tore up for it. Acon not even getting any trading anymore. Okay. Haven't seen anything pop on the higher floats. Let me see if I can. Okay, there is some on the higher floats. Okay, so leading the day on the high floats. Let's go look at that. We have NFE up 7%. We have WBD. We have Netflix. We have SoFi. These are our leaders in the higher floats. I did change this a little bit. At first, I had this scanner only looking for things that can move $5 in a day. And so I was looking at like Tesla and some of the bigger things, but I wanted to make it a little bit more broad as far as anything that's not really a micro float. I wanted to see it here, and if it's leading in volume, I'll know that people are watching that TV channel and be able to kind of be like, okay, well, this is going on right now. Maybe I need to wait for this to, calm down before I try to make a move. And I don't know if it doesn't work out or it messes with me mentally, I'll go back up to just watching the things that can move $5 a day. But for now, I'm just kind of like, okay, why are these things receiving the volume on a Friday? Like NFE, NFE, we have, let's see, what's the news? So market movement, no real news for NFE out here. Let's go to WBD. Netflix to acquire Warner Brothers. So that's why they are receiving. And that's why, see, if I didn't have it set to the way I have it set now, WBD only moves 80 cents per day. So I wouldn't have seen that. But Netflix is trying to acquire Warner Brothers. Let me see. So, and then Netflix is also up here as well. Right here. So both of those are up. And then SoFi, let's look at this news. SoFi, social buzz, blah blah blah. Prices a 1.5 billion stock offering. Investors worry about dilution on SoFi. That's always a worry on SoFi. Okay, so let's go over and look at some actual news while we still got a little bit of time left. So Netflix buying up Warner Brothers. That's some crazy stuff. Oh, it's on the front page. Wow, look at there. Netflix to buy Warner Brothers Discovery Studios for $72 billion. Hollywood's most prized and oldest assets could be headed to the streaming pioneer that has upended the media industry. A dovish Fed rate cut puts the Santa rally at risk. S&P 500 eyes fresh record. Is the labor market healthy? Don't count on finding out soon. Musk X fined 140 million by EU in first content law penalty. Century-old Dow theory is flashing a bullish sign for stocks. This could actually be the OK-shaped economy. HPE shares sink as outlook dense AI-fueled sales hopes. BlackRock Bitcoin ETF shares 2.7 billion in record outflows run. China AI chipmaker More Threads soars 500% after 1.1 billion IPO. Cloudflare restores services after minor dashboard outage. Japan's I see a call out by AJ. He says PMBC. We're about to go and look at that. PMBC. I thought I looked at that maybe. I guess I didn't. But it's up here. I'm not seeing any catalyst for it. The last real catalyst was on November 25th. Says it had Pharmacyte Biotech shares are trading higher after the company announced monetization of its stake in Pharmasys. And that's on November 25th. Other than that, I haven't really seen anything else on it. Okay, back over here to this. Century-old, blah, blah, blah. Cloudflare. Japan's economy minister says up to BOJ to decide specific monetary policy means. Wall Street races to cut its risk from AI's borrowing binge. If your 401k is still in these funds, you could be losing thousands, blah, blah, blah. Okay, Walmart-backed PhonePe winds down its PIN code app in yet another e-commerce step back. Oil holds 2-day gain with focus on Ukraine talks and surplus. Okay. All right, so let's go and see what we got here. What's the most recent stuff? So this is 14 minutes ago. Let's go do that.
Some of your predictions for 2026. It is an election year, so guess what? That's midterms. Could see some volatility there. What do you think is going to happen?
I think we are going to see volatility and confusion the way that and chaos the way that you identified in the opening. Look, the whole House is up for bargains, right? So all 435 seats are up to be reelected. So that's going to cause some confusion. I think the expectation is that the Democrats are going to retake the House, but yet the Republicans are expected to maintain control of the Senate, and we have a Republican president, so therefore we're going to have gridlock. Guess what? The market actually loves gridlock. Why?
It's predictable.
That's right. It's predictable because nothing happens. You can't go too far left. You can't go too far right. Right? Everything stays in the middle, and the market likes that. But remember, the market can function no matter what happens. It just wants to know what's happening. It's that lack of clarity in the first 9 months of the year that's going to cause that confusion until it becomes clearer on who the candidates are, who's the actual winner, what does that now mean, and then the market can adjust. Look, you may not like the result, but the fact is the market can deal with it.
All right. Got to get your take on what the Fed is going to do. We don't quite know what the Fed is doing in December, but just big picture, next year, are we going to get more rate cuts?
So I'm first of all in the camp that we shouldn't have any rate cuts right now. So while I expect they're going to cut them in December, I'm in the camp that we could leave them right where they are. Now, I think the first half of the year, I think we see the Fed just remain patient, and they want to wait to see how some of this chaos unfolds. Now, if the macro data starts to get really weak, if the labor market starts to honestly get really weak, then I would say yes, the Fed will cut. But I don't see that yet. I don't see real weakness in the labor market. I see it ticking up a tiny bit, but not enough for me yet to demand that they continue to cut rates. Remember, we're already down 150 basis points from where we were, right? We're going to be back at, by after the after the December meeting, we're going to be in the 3.5, 375 range on the Fed funds rate. That's actually historically normal. That's not necessarily restrictive. It's not overly stimulative, which is why I think at that point, what's going to be interesting is what Jay Powell says at the meeting. It's not going to be about whether we get the cut or not. We're going to get the cut. It's going to be like anything. It's like the forward guidance.
That's right.
What's he saying about the next 6 months? What's he saying about the mindset of the Fed?
Let's, we got a minute or two to go. Let's bring it back to risk management. Any other thoughts that you would give to traders, investors heading into the new year?
No, I think, it's always about not being emotional, right? Is that trying to build a portfolio, understand your risks, build your risks, and then don't make emotional decisions. If the market backs off, and I fully expect that we're going to see the market back off. Remember, it's a midterm election year. Don't be surprised if we're down 10 or 15%. You should know that going in, so you should build your portfolio with that expectation that we're potentially going to see that. That should allow you to then not get emotional if that happens, and to be able to take advantage of the pullback in the market.
Yes, and I think people should exercise patience for that, because the market will come to you. And also, my recommendation, always have a written plan. Write down your thoughts while you're doing stuff, because that's important.
That's right. And you can always go back and refer to them, and kind of, it reminds yourself, if you have the written plan, right, it kind of settles you down if you go back and you look at it and you understand your reasoning in the middle of all this chaos.
To me, Dave.
So we got, let me see, WHLR did do it. We were thinking, acting like a real estate stock, big dump off of what looked like some type of breakout. Acon, where is SMX? SMX still kind of down here, got 500,000 shares traded. I mean, it's heading towards 1 million. I think it's gonna pop up here soon, but still just not enough volume to even be seen by me. I just had it on scan on my on one of my watch lists, just because it was moving so big on so little volume. Okay, so QCLS and LGHL, PMCB, Spark. Okay. Then we got these other ones. NFE was weak. Warner Brothers moving around, squiggling around. I guess people are trying to, I don't know if they're buying shares of Warner Brothers in anticipation of owning some pieces of Netflix, and I don't know how the transfer rate is going to go for Warner Brothers if they're absorbed by Netflix, right? So if you hold XYZ amount of shares of Warner Brothers, could you get, whatever of let me read and see. See if we can find out here. So Netflix enters into exclusive talks to acquire this winning bid, key assets. Okay, so confirmed that winning bid was 28 per share. So they're trying to buy them at $28 per share. They're at 24 right now. I'm not sure if they posted exactly how the breakdown is going to go. Like, is there going to be... Yeah, so acquire Warner Brothers in a deal for $72 billion, 27.75 share in cash. I'm not sure about that. It is what it is. However they're gonna break it down, I'm just not sure. Okay, so that is catalyst for Friday though. So Warner Brothers does have catalyst for today, and Netflix does too. So I expect a lot of volume to be pouring over there. In the small caps though, we're just not seeing a whole lot of volume. WHLR, no, I mean not a whole lot of volume, a whole lot of catalyst. WHLR, no catalyst. Acon, let me see. Acon. Shareholders approved a share consolidation proposal on Acon, which isn't hot news. QCLS, just continuation. So yeah, low flows are looking a little dead. Okay, back over to what we were doing over here. Let's see. AI trades momentum shift.
One of the more interesting dynamics when the market as of late has been what's going on in big tech, right? We saw a pullback in big tech. We have seen sort of an uneven recovery, but there's also this rotation within big tech, or at least a perception of changing leadership to some degree. And I'm just curious what your thoughts are on that.
I think there's kind of two catalysts that are occurring at the same time. So to your point, the broader environment saw a big pullback away from tech into defensives in November. In fact, actually, the healthcare sector outperformed the IT sector by the largest spread in 20 years. So I think underscoring just such a huge momentum shift. And a lot of the driver for that kind of macro rotation has been the potential for rate cuts, right? So that was sort of getting baked into the market, came off really hard when some Fed governors came out sort of against it, and then that came back on really hard again, and we saw tech recover. But at the same time, under the hood, there has been a change in leadership.
Good morning.
Where NVIDIA, and I'll call it kind of Team OpenAI, so Microsoft and others and the suppliers in that space, were just kind of ripping higher consistently. And then the Google news happened. And Google's the triple whammy when it comes to generative AI. They were thought of as a laggard, but they're a hyperscaler themselves. They make chips, and they have a large language model. And so now investors are saying, wait a minute, we've kind of forgotten about all these other players who've been so focused on OpenAI and all of their sort of circular investments that now we're seeing investors sort of reposition and say, who's going to be the winner on this next leg going forward? Even Amazon's news yesterday with their chips kind of gave them some leadership, which we haven't seen in a while.
So, are any of you holding any of Netflix or Warner Brothers? And also SoFi. So SoFi is looking like it's going to be getting a little bit of dilution based on their news. So kind of just looking around, seeing what's sucking up the volume on today. And those names, they actually have news on them. So, you know, if they're in your portfolio, or maybe you just have exposure to them from an ETF or something like that. So that SMX is going back up. SMX has gone back up to $310. This is an insane mover. Still not even 1 million shares traded. Barely over 500,000 shares traded here. That was quite a bit of a fall from 435 all the way down here to 250, and then coming back up to 300. These are some wild moves, man. Let me see if TOS is allowing trading on it. I'm pretty sure they are. I'm going to buy. Yep, they are. Okay, so they're definitely allowing trading on this one. So they trust this one more than the Chinese stock. Yeah, boy. Let me go and look at Bitcoin, what it's actually ended up doing this morning. Come here, Bitcoin. While that's loading up, let's go ahead and
Over the last 7 trading days, small caps have quietly run ahead of the pack, climbing above their much larger cousins in the S&P 500 and the Russell 1000 indexes. Even with mega cap tech and the chip trade coming back, small caps are starting to steal the spotlight. And this recent surge might not just be a one-off pop, as this tends to be what happens this time of year. Small caps are now positioned to ride out what historically tends to be their best 3 months of the year over large caps. And that's what we're breaking down on today's Stocks in Translation. Now, here's some basics you need to know. First, we're going to be talking about 2 different indexes, the Russell 2000 and the Russell 1000. The Russell 2000 contains about 2,000 stocks with a market capitalization or market cap of under about $4.5 billion. Those are the small caps. The Russell 1000 is like the S&P 500. It has the large and even the mega caps, only stocks over about $10 billion in market cap. And in a minute, we're going to take a look at the ratio of these 2 indexes, the Russell 2000 divided by the Russell 1000. But next, small caps often lag their larger cap cousins. But from about mid-December through early March, they've got a strong track record of doing even better. Now, this doesn't mean that history says they should be green this whole time. If they do go down, they just tend to go down less than large caps. Now, let's take a look at a chart of that ratio of the Russell 2000 divided by the 1000 over time. This is the work, by the way, of Jeff Hirsch over at the Stock Traders Almanac. And this chart starts in July and goes for 1 year. And there are 2 lines. The white line is the average of the ratio going back to 1979. That is our map. And the green line is what's happened so far since the start in July. When small caps are doing better than large, the line moves up. And when they do worse, the lines move down. Those numbers at the extreme left and right of the chart just refer to the ratio of the 2 indexes. They're really not that important. Now, notice how that green line is approaching the shaded area, which is the sweet spot for small caps. From mid-December through early March, it looks like the outperformance might have already gotten started this year, but we don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves. Now, let's call out the differences here because size matters. Small caps mostly tied to the U.S. economy, at least more so than large caps, and more sensitive to interest rates and credit conditions. And that's why they can swing harder in both directions. Large caps, on the other hand, tend to have a global revenue stream and stronger balance sheets, so they tend to hold up better during downturns and slowdowns. Small caps also tend to have less concentration risk. They're not dominated by 5 or 10 stocks the way the S&P 500 or the Russell 1000 are. But picking small cap stocks can be a tricky business, as analyst coverage tends to be lower. You really need to research what you're buying. So let's talk technicals now. In this 5-year chart of the iShares Russell 2000 ETF IWM, you can see that this is now the 3rd time that price has traded above that key 240 level, which translates to the 2400 level on the Russell 2000 index. Each breakout attempt was quickly reversed after it failed, and when we hit it in October, there was a steep sell-off again. Small caps have truly frustrated investors over the last few years, so a big test is going to be if IWM can hold that 240 level. Maybe bullish seasonality means a difference this time, but that is an open question. So here's what to watch next. First, can the Russell 2000 finally hold that 2400 level and IWM its 240 level and stay above them? These are the lines in the sand. Next, do small caps continue to outperform even with normal pullbacks? Seasonality, it doesn't mean that every day needs to go up. It just means that the odds tilt in their favor. Then, are you trading broad exposure with an index ETF like IWM, or are you trading individual names? Remember that stock picking is even harder in the small cap space. So look for strong balance sheets, and yes, that means some fundamental analysis here. So as small caps try to break out of a multi-year ceiling, they've got the seasonal tailwinds and things are already swinging in their favor. A sustained rally from here would finally break the cycle that's frustrated the bulls for years, but more frustration wouldn't be too much of a surprise either. And tune into the Stocks in Translation podcast for more jargon-busting deep dives. New episodes can be found Tuesdays and Thursdays on Yahoo Finance's website or wherever you find your podcast.
And talk.
So, they're talking about small caps too. Everybody's talking about small caps. What's going on? Is small caps going to get even more heat? Well, I think one of the things is it's going to attract people to small caps. And if they've never been in small caps, like they just open up their platform and just trade things that are moving, they're probably going to get hurt. But that means that new money will be in play. So, I mean, it's one of those things. It always baffles me when people say, "Oh no, the catalyst doesn't matter, news doesn't matter. I'm just going to trade these small caps, some of the most difficult things in the world to trade, right? And they're just going to go in blind and just trade." It's like, okay, all right, that totally makes sense. You're climbing a hill that's bigger than all the other hills, but you think it takes less work than the other hills. Nah, bro. Um. Anyway, so let's see what he's got to say about small caps.
Tell me about sentiment sort of more broadly here, Jeff, investor sentiment, because I know that's something that you watch as well.
Yeah.
And, what does that tell us about where stocks could be going?
Well, I like the investors' intelligence reading because it takes a read on people that actually, get paid for what they do. It's not just a survey. Some of the put call stuff's a little bit hard to track these days with the zero date expiration options, but sentiment had gotten pretty frothy back in October with the market making new highs in a couple of months, September and October, new all-time highs, but it's backed off a bit. And sentiments, retail sentiment's a little bit sketchy. But I think the fact that we've seen sentiment come down and sell off sets us up for a little bit of a year-end rally. But as I said, I'm concerned about next year. I mean, the midterm year is the worst year of the 4-year cycle. We had the bear market in 22. We had the Christmas crumble in 2018. It sets up, especially if we can make more new all-time highs by the end of the year, early next year, for that weak spot of the 4-year cycle, Q2, Q3 of the midterm year in 26. Sets up a great buying opportunity, but I'm already concerned for next year not being anywhere near as strong as the past 3.
And what are the sort of fundamental factors that you would look to, or fundamental risks that you would look to increase that possibility that we could see that sell off?
I mean, I think we're seeing it underlying in the risk-off trade with Bitcoin and the sort of rotation out of the AI stocks. I mean, I think we're at the early stages of the big boom. I remember I put out a book a bunch of years ago called The Super Boom, and AI tech is all about that move. But there's going to be a pause. I think also the policies of the tariff policies probably going to take a little bit of an impact next year as it starts to roll through the economy. And then the midterm elections itself tend to take attention away from the market and into the political arena as the current, incumbent administration battles to control Congress. And I think we've seen from this president, he's pretty keen on being involved in that. And I think that can impact the market, which it has over several decades, as we show with the 4-year cycle, in the almanac.
Right. So, jump back, or actually, I was looking at Bitcoin. Bitcoin still holding right around 90,000. I think if it does get some kind of November uptick or whatever, like most of them are saying, next year could be a little spicy, a little bit more volatile. Especially with people pulling money in, putting money. And the thing is, when the first guy, not this guy, but the first guy that we watched was saying it's about being prepared to not be emotional, right? And he was like, look, it's not just about getting to that situation and then reacting. It's about taking those steps before you get there. So when and if it does happen, you're in a better place to either be in a buying position where you have some funds ready to go for those dips, or you already have it in your mind that, hey, I know how to handle this when it happens, instead of being so reactive. Now in small caps, you want to be reactive. You want to say, hey, there's a catalyst, there's a reason why right now that I need to get active on. But with these larger moves and long-term investments and long-term portfolios, it's more like, let me just hedge, let me just be prepared to take a good or make a better decision and not have my back on the wall. But anyway, let's jump back over to the main. So WHLR just continues to come on down now, and it actually has a good little downtrend here, and I don't think it's going to be going back up to 775 today. This is the first idea. The good thing I like about getting structure is the structure still stays there. Like if you just were to zoom back and take these candles off, you can always get that same structure and find the obvious structure there. And then the same thing to the upside where the wherever the bottom is. So the bottom is down here at 318 during pre-market. So I'll be looking for a structure to try to hold some type of trend from this bottom here. But it's not clear right now. So it is what it is. WHLR is a real estate trust. So these, we don't expect them to do like a whole lot because, I mean, it's real estate. What kind of trust wants their real estate super volatile? You know what I mean? It is a low float, but is that really what they want? And if it does go up or whatever, how willing are they to just sell shares on the open market just to buy more properties? You know? Acon, we saw that one go down. That's the cannabis stock. QCLC pretty much went up and kind of flatlining here around $8. LGH was the Singapore stock. I'm not really worried about that. And it had a super duper high float. The float was 6.13 billion on LGHL. Spark or SPRC is an Israeli company it's got a low float, but yeah, just not worth it to me. PMCB was a call out by AJ, I believe. I didn't see any kind of catalyst, and the most recent catalyst that I saw was that they were just they announced monetization of his stake in Phemosys. So I'm not sure how hot that's going to be. And it's only up 8% right now. So we really want to see those things that are staying up or that have volume and have catalyst. And today we don't really have catalyst here. We just have volume and percent gainers, but really no good catalyst. And then most of the companies that are leading are actually trash. So kind of a hard day to try to siphon out some good profits without a reason why. Well, a lot of times I talk to different traders and stuff, and they're like, man, I don't know when to get in. I don't know where to get in. I'm like, okay, well, have you answered the first question, why to get in? And they're like, oh, no. So if you have no why, how do you figure out when and where is my question. Like, if you don't, it just seems like you're just taking action on hope, I guess. So that's confusing to me. I want to find out a why first. Why should I or shouldn't I take this trade? Because when you're trading, I think I said this before, but you're pretty much playing every part of the business decision. You are the salesman, you are the buyer, you are the CEO, you're the janitor, you are everybody. So you have to play everybody's role. If you are a buyer, if you go to a car dealership and they say, yeah, we got this car, a lot of people like it, but we can't tell you any of the details about this car. Just know that a lot of people like it. And it'll get you from point A to B, maybe. But just trust us on it because the momentum's there. People like it. Maybe no reviews have really been put out. So you should buy this car. Would you buy that car? Is what I'm saying. Like, you're gonna ask some more questions. You'll be like, wait a minute, what's the mileage? What's the gas? Oh, we can't tell you. What's the if you're financing, what's the rate? We can't tell you. What's the like what brand? What does this brand hold up? How is it durable? We can't tell you. Wouldn't you be more apprehensive about trying to learn more about that car? And so when people say, oh, the catalyst doesn't matter, news doesn't matter, I'm like, you're a gambler. You would go into a car lot and buy a car that will put you in the earth 6 feet under. That's what you are. So, yeah, I want to know why. Oh, but let's go look at I mean, Warner Brothers is taking all this volume, but it's not really moving. Netflix. Okay, Nvidia finally came up here. It's got 1 million shares traded, but not a big move. Oh, IRBT is up 16%, but does it have news or something? I remember this one was a call out, but I think it has a higher float is why I didn't trade it the first time on IRBT. Let me see. IRBT, why are you up? I think it's just continuation. Moving 320 up to 350, up 15%, but with only 2 million shares, it's got a lot of competition on the board. A lot of competition. Now I am willing to trade higher float things if they are like the only thing moving. If they're the thing that's up and they have the catalyst and they have pretty much everything else except the float, I'm willing to trade those, and I'm not looking to try to get, 30 cents. I'm okay with 15, I'm okay with 10 cents. So yeah, I'm definitely willing. Definitely willing. Do we have any Fed talks or anything? We haven't looked at this in a while. 12/5. So they had the bank supervision and regulation yesterday, but nothing else really coming up. Wednesday is FOC. That's next week. And no speakers announced into the end of the month. So we'll see how these small caps do. But yeah, anyway, just kind of looking around the market on Friday. I'm already green on the month, green on the week. So not really super adamant about taking any positions. I'm selling myself out of most of these, as you can see, trying to see, hey, is there anything to the detriment of my health, according to this stock? I am probably going to be going and doing some work, actually on site this morning. So I'm probably not going to be just staring at the market all day. I think SMX is probably going to end up making it to 1 million shares traded, but it's just got so much competition and people just, it's so high price right now. It's $285 is a lot, for anybody, 100 share. I mean, 10 shares, 10 shares. That's 285 times 10. And that's quite a little bit of a money bag that you got to put on that. That's 2,000, just 10 shares is $2,850. So 100 shares, you start really getting on up there. $28,500 for 100 shares. But yeah, I'm looking for a low float that actually looks bullish, but just not seeing any. All of them kind of look like they're headed to the downside right now. Spark. ADTX. Kala. IVP. Warner Brothers. SoFi. IRBT is up there, but with it being a higher flow, I usually wait to the intraday to trade high flow stocks. One, because if they are going to sell off, I want to see how much they drop and can I buy a real dip on them, because a lot of times they hold levels and they'll hold them for a while and then make moves, but they hold them for a long time. That's the only issue. So IRBT right now, 357s. Let me go look at this daily chart. Let me go look at that daily chart on IRBT. IRBT was trading at $3.03 yesterday. It is currently trading at 358. So literally right above the top of this level here at the 350s. And right there, 351-ish. But yeah, not sure what it wants to do. Don't know if it can make it all the way up there. I mean, it really have to be a lower float to make it all the way up there, but I don't think it can. It's at 17% though. Maybe it'll grind throughout the day. Not sure what their news was because I really didn't look into it super heavy. Anyway, any other call outs that you all are seeing that we can look at before I jump on to some work and get on down? SMX. I mean, this thing is barely. I mean, how do you even trade it? What is the what? Oh my goodness, the bid and ask on this. The bid is at 282. The ask is at 288. What? That's a $6. That's a $6 spread. If you buy the bid or buy the I mean, you gotta buy the bid because if you buy the ask, you can lose $6 per share in an instant. That's kind of insane, actually. Like, and if you buy market, whew, you may be buying. I mean, you may end up with shares at 290, and the ask and bid are below it. Now, one thing that I do like about these free brokers like TOS, Webull, and all of this is their price improvement. Because yesterday when I was trading, I was selling on the ask and I was getting better prices, better, more money out. Because when I first started selling out of what was it, EKSO or whatever it was, the amount that I had unrealized was $60. But then I started pressing sell on the ask, sell on the ask, and then it said, okay, well the amount realized was like $70, $75. It was giving me price improvement. So I do like that fact about some of the direct access brokers like Lightspeed and some of the faster ones, they don't give price improvement. But TOS definitely gives price improvement. So I really like that because I would have ended up with like $60 where I was selling, but it gave me like an extra 20 because of price improvement. I was like, yeah, boy, I will take that. All right, IRBT. This is the most bullish looking one on the morning. But I have no faith in it. WHLR still up here pumping around, trapping people. Really still no true structure yet. Kind of hard to tell. It keeps popping back up here and coming back down. But some people, they'll wake up, they say it's at up 101%. It can definitely go to 200. It's like, all right, try that. All right, so yeah, I'm not seeing much else pop on. We can just review what I currently have on scans right now. WHLR is leading in volume. It's a real estate trust, so backing off of that. And then in the higher floats, we have WB, Warner Brothers. Long list of errors. What's up? What you said boom boom boom. What you getting? Did you get SMX or something? What are you trading? You trading something with a $7 bid and ask here spread? You getting blessed out here with price improvement, or you getting cooked? Well, you said boom boom boom, so maybe you're doing well. Oh, yeah. Just woke up. Oh man. Just woke up. That's why I started trading a little bit later on Fridays because I don't really expect much, to be honest, because it's not a day that real catalyst actually drops. So I kind of do get up a little bit later on Fridays. So I understand that completely. All right, let's see. SMX, really no more motion. Just kind of flatlining. I would hate to be in this position where you bought and now there's no more anything. It could drop, it could go up. You just don't know. You're helpless. And then it's hard to find a buyer to sell to. It still hasn't reached 1 million shares traded. Has an ATR of $19.94. So that means average true range is moving around $19 a day. Almost $20 a day. And that does not mean that it's moving $20 in one direction. It can move back and forth. It can be very cyclical, but overall, that's what it's kind of insinuating. Oh, all right. Well, I'm really about to go get me some breakfast for before I go to work. And then let me refresh this news and see if there's anything new. Cloudflare restores services after minor dashboard something. Where'd they go? Oh well. Trustpilot surges on Morgan Stanley upgrade despite short seller claims. Netflix to buy Warner Brothers Discovery's studios streaming unit. Avatars, influencers in China live streams help drive rickets emerging market. I don't know what rickets is. That sounds like a disease. Or rickets. Rickets. After Neuralink, Max Hodak is building something stranger. Oh, stranger than Neuralink? That's crazy. I might go and read on that. Instant View, Netflix. Okay, we know that. Netflix. U.S. bonds head for the worst week in 6 months before inflation data. Okay, so let's see what this guy's talking about.
Okay, time for trending tickers. We're watching the AI space in China. Baidu shares are rising as the company reportedly is considering an IPO for its AI chip unit. And it comes as More Threads, the company known as China's Nvidia, made its public debut in Shanghai. The stock soared, get this, 400% after raising $1.1 billion in its IPO. Elsewhere in Asia, SoftBank and its chip unit arm holdings, arm holdings are looking to strengthen South Korea's chip and AI industries. They are taking steps towards establishing a chip design training center in South Korea. The announcement coming after SoftBank CEO Masayoshi Son met with South Korea's president. And Korea has ramped up efforts to become a top global player in AI. In recent months, OpenAI's Sam Altman and NVIDIA's Jensen Huang have both traveled there to work on deals. Finally, shares of Oklo and SoFi are falling sharply ahead of the open. They're both under pressure for making shares available on the market. And the worry that comes with that, diluting value of existing shares. Oklo, the nuclear energy company, announcing Thursday night it's entered an equity distribution deal with several financial institutions to sell $1.5 billion worth of stock. Meantime, SoFi also raising roughly $1.5 billion, and it's doing that via a stock offering that was priced at $27.50 $1.50 per share, a discount to Thursday's closing price.
You know, it's hard not to be romantic about this country. My parents had the American dream. My father always wanted us to grow up in the United States. He sent us here when I was 9. And they had almost nothing to start a life here. And somehow, through that journey,
it worked out pretty good.
I'm here with the privilege of leading one of the most consequential companies in the history of humanity.
Yeah.
And you just can't write a better story than that.
Yeah.
You can't not be romantic about this country. I'm surrounded by extraordinary scientists. I'm surrounded by extraordinary people. All of our technology partners, the ecosystem that we have here. It is, you know, I don't want to be complacent, but it is a miracle. There's no question about it. And I have the benefit of working with every nation in the world. And so I think we can say for certain that we want the same. We want the same outcome for this nation. It is important, however, that I come here so that I could at least explain what is AI. It's 5 layers. I can explain what is impact, how is it going to evolve, and how certain policies, although on appearance might achieve whatever objectives, that the long-term consequences, the unintended consequences, could be quite dire for the United States. And so I have the benefit of at least explaining it from the perspective of technology, and help advocate for technology leadership so that we could secure our national security. And so I have that benefit, and I'm deeply grateful that the people I get to meet here in Washington, D.C. has always had an open door. And you know, although this is new for me and I'm clumsy at it, I can also say that I'm very grateful that Washington has been very open to me.
All eyes will be on a fresh reading on inflation later this morning. The Fed's preferred inflation gauge, the Personal Consumption Expenditures Price Index, or PCE index, for September is out at 10 a.m. Eastern. Economists are forecasting total and core PCE, which takes out food and energy, to hold steady at 0.3% and 0.2% respectively on a month-over-month basis, signalling that overall consumer prices are rising, but at the same pace as the previous month. Well, let's get more on this story. I'm joined by CIBC Chief International Strategist Jeremy Stretch. Jeremy, thanks so much for joining us on Market Sunrise.
Hi, Ramzan.
Now, I said that all eyes will be on this PCE number, but these are September's numbers. So will that really make much of a difference to next week's rate decision?
Well, notionally, you would expect not, certainly if the numbers themselves are broadly in line with the expectations that you've outlined. But clearly, if there were to be an unexpected uptick in terms of that core PCE reading, in particular in terms of the year-on-year rate, and getting above the 3% threshold for the first time since spring 2024, that would make market pricing for the upcoming Fed decision a little more uncertain. But I think ultimately, if we see a number which is broadly in line with expectations, it leaves Fed rate cut expectations firmly entrenched into next week's decision.
But looking further ahead, the market seemed to think there could be another 2 rate cuts in 2026. Are you of the same opinion?
Well, I think rates are going to be cut, but I guess the question is how far can and should the Fed be cutting rates? Now, of course, there is a big variable at hand in the context of the changing narrative or the changing composition of the Fed, which is clearly going to be influential through 2026.
Warner Brothers just made quite a bit of a move here from 24, 40, 50 up here to 25.64. It is moving up. So the previous aftermarket high was 26.50. It is getting above its ATRs here, and it hit a low during pre-market of 23.89. So we do have some idea of some type of uptrend on Warner Brothers for this Friday. And we'll see how that ends up continuing to move. We have a couple of ideas here that could be possibles, but I'm not sure what's going to end up holding up. We'll see. It's got the bottom that it tested here pre-market, and then it's got another little could be in here. So we'll see what happens, and if it continues to maybe consolidate up here above the 25s or right on top of the 25s, and if it can move back up to those 26s. But people are looking like they're a little bit excited that Netflix is buying them out. But Netflix is actually down 4%. So we'll see. We'll see how that all comes together with Warner Brother being up and Netflix, the company that's buying it or in position to buy it, is down. Let's see what else we got over here. WHLR still trapping. Yeah, I think I'm gonna go ahead and get on down. Like I said, well, we're looking good on the month. First week of the month, looking to continue to build out, looking to find the why of why these things are popping, why these things should be moving or are moving, and then figuring out the when and where to buy and when and where to take profit, right? So that's pretty much what we've been doing on rinse and repeat. And we've heard a couple of speakers today talk about the small caps and how the last 3 months of the year is usually, or not the last 3 months of the year. There's a 3 month period during the year, usually towards the end of the year, that small caps actually do pretty well. And so that's what they've been seeing. But we'll see how the rate cuts go. I really don't know if rate cuts are really going to affect small caps like that, but we'll see. Okay, so 775 was the previous high there on WHLR, and it's definitely forming. So we got another little idea of a possible downtrend. At this point, this downtrend has been invalidated because it will have to come all the way back down here just to get to this. So not too worried about that. We do have two up here. It's up 114%, but again, it's a trap. It's a trap. I'm sure somebody's trading it. I bet my boy Ross isn't trading it. Let's see. LGHL QLQC. That's another thing. A lot of times I see people, they do the training. They take the warrior training courses and things like that. And they don't understand how focused that Ross is on catalysts. Like, this man deep dives on the SEC filings, deep dives on all of this catalyst, and people see him make millions, and they're like, "Man, I can do that. I don't need to read. I don't need to, see any kind of fundamentals or whatnot." It's like, bro, it's very few times that he's not doing research. Sometimes he does it, but he's got a big account, so he can play around like that. But most of the times, he's doing his research. He's going out and touching grass, seeing what reality he's talking about. Because the charts will sell you a dream. They'll be like, "Oh yeah, this thing's bullish. Oh yeah, come play with us," and you'll be in the drain with the clown. All right, but yeah, WBD Warner Brothers still moving up. It's got 19 million. So in the high floats, it is leading the way in volume. Warner Brothers, everything else hadn't even reached 10 million shares traded yet. WHLR, it's actually about to pass WHLR in volume. So that's gonna be pretty nasty. Okay, so here's another idea of a downtrend. It just keeps kind of breaking higher, so really haven't been able to really put in one yet. Let's see if it makes a new high. Almost. Not quite. Okay. Yeah. All right, yeah, I'm gonna stop wasting time. I'm not even gonna trade this, but yeah, y'all be careful if you're gonna trade on Friday. Find your reason why, then figure out when and where to get in. Right? If you have a period that you like trading, or that's one thing that I've actually gotten away from is trying to limit myself to a specific time to trade. Sometimes it just doesn't happen in your time frame, but literally like a couple minutes after your time frame, it's ready to go. So it's like, man, let me just chill out with that. Pretty much, if I'm there and I'm available at that time to take a good trade, I'm gonna take it. It doesn't really matter if it's lunchtime or whatever time it is. If the catalyst is there and all of that, I'm taking the trade. But today I'm going to be working this morning. So WHLR is coming on down. Acon, just doing one more quick swing through. Yeah, I think we've seen everything that we need to see today. Anyway, that is it for me today. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. I'll be back Monday morning, streaming again. Pre-market. SMX never did make it to a million shares traded. Maybe it will at some point today, but I mean, with no volume and the spread just continues to get well, actually the spread, let's see, 270. So now it's a $4 spread. It was a $7 spread, but still, that is death in motion. That means that you have to buy the bid. There is no buying the ask or buying market. If you do, you're going to you're going to suffer almost immediately, especially if it drops back to the bid. Anyway, that's it for me today. And as always, see you guys in the next one. Peace.